wonderful. Okay. Dasa Vrindavanam Vande Krishna Dasa Prabhum Tata Chanavatar Chaitanya Lila Vistar Karino Dro Nityananda Prabja Karunadena Bhushito Yakta Chano Budachincho Vavande Vyasadupino Shri Guru Gandharva Govindas Chaganai Saha Jayanti Patakas Ch.Ch Sarvesham Karunartina Jai Gurudev. Okay, so continuing. So we were hearing this beautiful verse from Bhagavatam describing Mahaprabhu as the Lord of Sankirtan in the Kali Yuga. And that verse is being discussed. So it's being explained here that Mahaprabhu's expansions and his associates, they are like his weapons. Normally, the Lord, when he appears, he's associated with some particular weapon, right? A bow and arrow or Sudarshan chakra. But his weapons in the form of Mahaprabhu are his beloved associates and his expansions. So that is being discussed here. Anga Pangashtra Kore Svakarya Sadan Anga Shabda Arta Shunodiyaman. His plenary parts and associates perform the work of weapons as their own specific duties. Please hear from me another meaning of the word Anga. Anga Shabde Amsha Kohe Shastra Paraman. So the word Anga means like a bodily limb, part. And so it's also used to indicate here like an expansion of the Lord, a direct expansion of the Lord. So like, well maybe there will be some, like Nityananda Prabhu, maybe he's an Anga. But let's see if some examples. Because there's Anga, which implies a more close, and then there's Amsha, which means like an expansion, a little more remote. So maybe like Nityananda Baladev would be an Anga, and Narayan would be an Amsha, something like that. But I think an Amsha is a little more remote. And then there's also an Upanga, further remote expansion. According to the evidence of the revealed scriptures, okay, Anga and Amsha is used synonymously, I think. That's what it's saying here, actually. And what is the original? Sorry. Okay, yeah, in the verse of Bhagavatam, it doesn't use the word Amsha. It uses Anga and Upanga. So Amsha and Anga are synonymous, can be used synonymously. According to the evidence of the revealed scriptures, a bodily limb, Anga, is also called a part, Amsha, and a part of a limb is called a partial part, Upanga. So a direct expansion, then an expansion of an expansion. And now we have a quotation from Bhagavatam, spoken by Brahma to Krishna. This is after Lord Brahma steals all the cowherd boys and the cows. And then 1 year later, he realizes his mistake, and he's making all these prayers of apology and glorification to Krishna. And so this is one of those. Narayanastvam nahi sarvadehinam atmasyadi shakila loka shakshi Narayano angam narabhu jalayana tachapi satyam na tavaiva maya. O Lord, so this is Brahma to Krishna, the cowherd boy. O Lord of lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not, therefore, my father, Narayan? So Brahma is having this revelation that this charming little teenage cowherd boy, who's appearing in this very simple way, is actually the source of the almighty Narayan. So he's saying, actually, I mean, it's very funny, because, you can think of Brahma with all his heads and his beard, and he's this, the great creator, and he's speaking to this young boy, You're actually my father. And Krishna tells him, I think it's coming up here maybe, but Krishna tells him, how can I be your father? I'm just a cowherd boy. Okay. You are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not therefore my father, Narayan? Narayan refers to one whose abode is in the water born from Nara, Garbhodakashai Vishnu. And that Narayan is your plenary portion. And as I understand this plenary portion, it means, I think plenary means something like of equal power. So plenary portion means an expansion who has equal power to the Lord. So Narayan is an expansion of the Lord. He has equal power to the Lord. I mean, it's also mentioned, it is actually an offense to consider Narayan and Krishna as separate. But the distinction is in the realm of rasa. In the realm of rasa. Krishna has, maybe we should turn that off. Krishna has more rasa than Narayan. So, okay. But otherwise, it should not be, it should not be, considered that they are, completely different, completely separate. That is incorrect. So it is being said here, Narayan is an expansion of equal power to Krishna. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and are not creations of Maya. So like that example is given of the original candle flame in Brahma Samhita, I think, right? And then other candles are being lit from that and burning with that same intensity. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and are not creations of Maya. Jal chayantaryami jay narayan seho tomaram shatumi mo narayam. The manifestation of the Narayan who predominates in everyone's heart, as well as the Narayan who lives in the waters, Karan, Garbha, and Kira, is your plenary portion. You are therefore the original Narayan. So these are the three Purusha avatars who are being referred to. They are all your plenary portions. You are therefore the original Narayan. Anga shabde amsha kohe seho satya hoy maya kaya nahe sab chidananda moy. The word anga indeed refers to plenary portions. Such manifestations should never be considered products of material nature, for they are all transcendental, full of knowledge and full of bliss. I'm going to read this purport. This is a nice purport. In the material world, if a fragment is taken from an original object, the original object is reduced by the removal of that fragment. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not at all affected by the actions of Maya. The Ishopanishad says, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. This is really nice. This is a verse I've tried to learn, but it's a bit of a tongue twister. Gurudev many times, quotes this verse from the Ishopanishad. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. It's something we can't really conceive, like in material transactions, You take something and something is lost, But this is the nature of the absolute. It is always full, and always becoming fuller also, because it is a dynamic, progressive reality. So if something is taken away, nothing is lost. And that remains complete also, what is taken. In the realm of the absolute, 1 + 1 = 1, and 1 - 1 = 1. Therefore, one should not conceive of a fragment of the Supreme Lord in the material sense. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he used the example of 0, actually, that we can understand. 0 + 0 = 0. 0 - 0 = 0. Something like that. In the spiritual world, there is no influence of the material energy or material calculations of fragments. In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that the living entities are his parts and parcels. Mamaivamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. There are innumerable living entities throughout the material and spiritual universes. But still Lord Krishna is full in himself. To think that God has lost his personality because his many parts and parcels are distributed all over the universe is an illusion. That is a material calculation. And then you also have people, like when it comes to the chanting of the Lord's names, there's this idea amongst some that if too many people chant the name, it loses some power. This is one reason why these big Vedic mantras, they were kept closed. It was only the Brahmin class who had access to them. That was one reason some had that idea, that if too many people chant it, it will lose its power. But that is as it says here, that's a material calculation. That's the nature of material power, material resources. There's a limited supply, But in that realm, it's all infinite. There's no lack of anything for anyone. That is a material calculation. Such calculations are, and we were talking about this in Australia a few weeks ago. This is partly what envy is based upon. We don't think that there's enough for everybody. There's not enough position for everyone. There's not enough love for everyone. We all go through. I go through it, but in kids, you see in a very exaggerated way, with another sibling. Sometimes if they have a new baby sibling, and the mother's giving extra attention, then they're afraid they're missing out, and they get jealous because there's a limit. They feel there's a limited supply. And to conceive that there's more than enough for everyone. There's space for everybody. There's enough supply. There's enough love for everybody. Srila Prabhupada used to talk about that and say, there's enough ecstasy for everybody. And that's one basis for envy. That we think if that person has position, then I lose position. Then I don't have position. So I can't give position to that person. If that person gets attention, if that person is acknowledged as wonderful, then I'm less wonderful. I must be less wonderful if that person is celebrated as being wonderful. Isn't there enough wonderfulness for everybody to be, unbelievably wonderful? And this is what was so wonderful about Gurudev's association, because he's coming from that infinite world, and he gave us that taste of there being enough for everybody. We all felt he was able to make everybody happy. We all felt satisfied, just sitting, and you didn't even need to say anything. That was what was so incredible. You could just clean his room, or give him a cup of water, or just sit in front of him for 5 minutes, and you wouldn't be jealous of this person has that and that person has this closer connection. No doubt some envy, would come up, but on the whole, we experienced just very small connection. It was so satisfying because he's coming from that plane. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Muda. It's all full. There's no deficiency. Slightest contact from that is supremely fulfilling.
He brought that plane with him, and we were all sitting in that plane. We were all feeling that because he was bringing that atmosphere that he brought that with him. Right?
Yeah. And Gurudev mentions this in, maybe it's in Real Truth, but I think I was there when he spoke it, where he's saying, when we, and this was like a cure for my envy, when, not that I'm completely free from envy, but it helps. But he said, when we feel our own connection with that wonderful plane, then we'll become free from any jealousy, from any envy, because we're feeling that sweetness in our heart. We're feeling satisfied ourselves. Then there's no need to be jealous of what anybody else has. And that was my experience of Guru. Once I began to feel a stronger connection with him, and feel that deep, feel that relationship, that exchange on a deep level, then what other people had, I didn't mind. Even if they had some intimate connection with him that I didn't have, I was just satisfied in that genuine connection that I had. In the spiritual world, the material energy is conspicuous only by its absence. In the spiritual world, the material energy is conspicuous only by its absence. I'm going to read from a few lines before. To think that God has lost his personality because his many parts and parcels are distributed all over the universe is an illusion. That is a material calculation. Such calculations are possible only under the influence of the material energy, Maya. In the spiritual world, the material energy is conspicuous only by its absence. Wonderful. In the category of Vish, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's also discusses a little like how because the Lord's Leela, it has its expression both in the material realm and then also in the spiritual realm, right? And so like all expressions of like concentrated expressions of, let's just say negativity or the material energy, they have like a clear and defined form within the material world, right? So you have the demons and all these things, and they have like a concrete, very clear, defined presence.
You mean some material thought is manifesting in a form?
Well, I'm talking specifically, in what I'm referring to, it was about Nrsingadev's Leela. And someone asked him about Hiranyakashipu. Because Nrsingadev, he has his own zone in Vaikuntha. Now, all the Vishnu avatars, they have their own, they have their Leela on earth, but they also have their eternal play in an area of the eternal spiritual sky. So someone asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj, like in Vaikuntha, is Hiranyakashipu there, right? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that there will be some hazy representation. That, like he said, like a picture on the wall, like something like remote, something abstract, like in the way that in this world, the spiritual world feels very remote, it's somewhere there, we've heard about it, but the material world is very like concrete and clear to us. So in the spiritual world, it's the opposite. There's some, it's all the spiritual plane, and then there's some hazy representation of the material energy, or like these demonic persons.
Like an iceberg on the
Iceberg floating in the ocean of consciousness. Right?
or the what is it? Rasovaisa.
Rasovaisa means his nature is a rasa. It's very, I find that quite inspiring, Like, we're having a particular experience of reality, but that's just our experience. That's not actually what it is. And there's this whole other experience that's going on that's just the opposite. And you think of like Gurudev, we can't begin to conceive of what he's seeing, when he's looking upon us, like where he's living and what he's tasting and how remote, like all of our stuff that is so important to us, like it's so remote and distant and meaningless to him. Like the way a 2-year-old, like we were chuckling on Saturday, some of the young ones, they're those little things that are so crucial, and they're crying, and it's the end of the world, I didn't get my toy, and we're laughing, but we're like actually the same to the Paramahamsa Vaishnava. All of our issues.
But it's so interesting that everything is, we have to cultivate in the subjective plane, right?
In the kind of, sorry.
Clear all this, what we have accumulated from so many births, and to, in a clear sort of open way to receive what we are able to, what we are by grace may receive. Right?
Yeah. Ultimately, we depend on grace, our only hope. Nityananda, we cannot understand anything. Oh, no English, huh? Oh, a little bit, or no? He's so patient. It's amazing.
Yeah, and he's so happy to be here. And yeah.
Maybe we can do a Russian class one day.
Yeah.
Ramananda Prabhu translate. In the category of Vishnu Tattva, there is no loss of power from one expansion to the next, any more than there is a loss of illumination, as one candle kindles another. Thousands of candles may be kindled by an original candle, and all will have the same candle power. In this way, it is to be understood that although Vishnu Tattvas, from Krishna and Lord Chaitanya to Ram, Nrsimha, Varaha, and so on, appear with different features in different ages, all are equally invested with supreme potency. Demigods such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva come in contact with the material energy, and their power and potency are therefore of different gradations. All the incarnations of Vishnu, however, are equal in potency, for the influence of Maya cannot even approach them. Advaita Nityananda Chaitanya Duihanga Angarava Yavagan Kohiye Upanga. Okay, so this is our question being answered. Sri Advaita Prabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu are both plenary portions of the Lord Chaitanya. Thus they are the limbs, angas, of his body. The parts of these two limbs are called the upangas. So Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, they're considered angas, and then more direct expansions, and then those that expand from them are called upangas, more remote expansions. Angopanga tikshna astra prabhur sahite se sabastra hoy pashanda dalite. Thus the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the form of his parts and plenary portions, his expansions. All these weapons are competent to crush the faithless atheists. Nityananda Gosai Sakshad Haladhar Advaita Acharya Gosai Sakshad Ishwar. Sri Nityananda Gosai is directly Haladhar, Lord Balaram, and Advaita Acharya is the personality of Godhead himself. Shivasari Parishad Shanya Sangye Loya Duisena Pati Bule Kirtan Koriya. These two captains with their soldiers, such as Srivas Thakur, travel everywhere, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Pashanda Dalanvana Nityananda Rai Acharya Hunkarepa Pashandi Palai. Lord Nityananda's very features indicate that he is the subduer of the unbelievers. All sins and unbelievers flee from the loud shouts of Advaita Acharya. Sankirtan. So it's Kaviraj Goswami is illustrating how these expansions of Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, and Advaita, they act as weapons in dealing with the unbelievers. All sins and unbelievers flee from the loud shouts of Advaita Acharya. Sankirtan Pravartak Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sankirtan Yagyatade Bhaje Se Danya. Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya is the initiator of Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. One who worships him through Sankirtan is fortunate indeed. Seto Sumedar Kubudi Samsar Sarva Yagya Hoite Krishna Nam Yagya Sar. Such a person is truly intelligent, whereas others who have but a poor fund of knowledge must endure the cycle of repeated birth and death. Of all sacrificial performances, the chanting of the Lord's holy name is the most sublime. Kotyashvamede Krishna Namasam Jai Kohese Pashandi Dande Tadeyam. One who says that 10 million Ashvamedha sacrifices are equal to the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna is undoubtedly an atheist. He is sure to be punished by Yamaraj. Bhagavat Sandarbha Gwanter Mangalacharane E Shloka Jiva Gosai Kodiyachen Vyakyane. In the auspicious introduction to the Bhagavat Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami has given the following verse as an explanation. Anta Krishnam Bahir Goram Darshitangadi Vaibhavam Kalo Sankirtanadyaisma Krishna Chaitanyam Ashitaha. I take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is outwardly of a fair complexion, but is inwardly Krishna himself. In this age of Kali, he displays his expansions, his angas and upangas, by performing congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And this verse of Jiva Goswami, it's like a parallel verse to this verse of Bhagavatam, which we were discussing yesterday, describing Mahaprabhu as the avatar of Kali Yuga. Upa Puraneha Shuni Shri Krishna Vachan Kripa Kodi Vyasprati Kodiyachen Katan. In the Upa Puranas, we hear Shri Krishna showing his mercy to Vyasadeva by speaking to him as follows. Aham eva kvachid brahman sanyasa shamam ashritaha hari bhaktim grahayami kalo papa hatannaram. O learned Brahmin, sometimes I accept the renounced order of life to induce the fallen people of the age of Kali to accept devotional service to the Lord. So it's another evidential verse here describing Mahaprabhu as the Kali Yuga avatar, the Yuga avatar, Kali Yuga. Bhagavad Bharat Shastragam Puran Chaitanya Krishna Avatare Prakat Praman. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahabharata, the Puranas, and other Vedic literature all give evidence to prove that Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the incarnation of Krishna. Pratyakshe Dekaha Nana Prakat Prabhav Alokika Karma Alokika Anubhav. One can also directly see Lord Chaitanya's manifest influence in his uncommon deeds and uncommon Krishna conscious realization. Dekyana deke jata bhakteragan ulukena deke jena soryer kiram. But faithless unbelievers do not see what is clearly evident, just as owls do not see the rays of the sun. And now we have quotation from the Stotra Ratna of Jamunacharya. Tvam Shila Rupa Charitai Parama Prakrishtai Satvena Satvikataya Prabalaischa Shastrai Prakyata Daiva Paramarta Vidam Mataischa Naiva Soda Prakitaya Prabhavanti Bodham. O my Lord, those influenced by demoniac principles cannot realize you, although you are clearly the supreme by dint of your exalted activities, forms, character, and uncommon power, which are confirmed by all the revealed scriptures in the quality of goodness and the celebrated transcendentalists in the divine nature. The celebrated transcendentalists in the divine nature. Very nice. So it's so clear. It's clearly told throughout the scriptures. But if someone doesn't have any grace, they cannot recognize it. Apana lukaite Krishna nanajatna kore tatapi tahar bhakta janaye tahare. Lord Sri Krishna tries to hide himself in various ways. See, this is the thing, that Krishna, he likes to make it confusing. He likes to make an obstacle course. And only the really sincere souls get to the end. So he's saying it, but he's not saying it at the same time. He's saying it and he's also contradicting it at the same time. So it's not clear. Lord Sri Krishna tries to hide himself in various ways. But nevertheless, his pure devotees know him as he is, because ultimately he can only be seen through love, through the eyes of love. So those who have love for him, he cannot hide from them. Premanjana charita bhakti vilochanena, as we're told in Brahma Samhita. And now we have another quotation from Jamunacharya. Ulangita trividasima samati shai sambhavanam tava pariradima swabhavam maya balena bhavatapi niguyamanam pashyanti kechid anisham tvadananya bhava. O my Lord, everything within material nature is limited by time, space, and thought. Your characteristics, however, being unequaled and unsurpassed, are always transcendental to such limitations. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy. And there's that yoga maya samavrata Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, that he's covered by his yoga maya, so not everybody is seeing him. Even like when Krishna appears in this world, Gurudev has mentioned this. It's not that everybody can see his real spiritual form. Gurudev mentioned Maya Krishna. They're seeing some other Krishna. Only those who have that grace, who have that love, divine love, they're able to see the real, true spiritual form of Krishna. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy, but nevertheless, your unalloyed devotees are always able to see you under all circumstances. Asura swabhave Krishna kabunahi jane lukaite nare Krishna bhakta janastane. Those whose nature is demoniac cannot know Krishna at any time, but he cannot hide himself from his pure devotees. So those with the materialistic mentality, they can never see Krishna. And on the other hand, those who have love for Krishna, he cannot avoid them. He can't hide from them if he wants to. They control him, actually. The highest class of devotee. He's bound by their love. Drobhuta, this is a verse from the Padma Purana. Drobhuta sarga lokesmin daiva asura eva cha Vishnu bhaktas mito daiva asuras tad viparyaya. There are two classes of men in the created world. One consists of the demoniac and the other of the godly. The devotees of Lord Vishnu are the godly, whereas those who are just the opposite are called demons. Well, I feel like we just got started, but it is getting late and we do have to, well, maybe we'll just finish the chapter. Well, I don't know. I don't want to rush it, because I think I'm going to stop there. And I do have to go this morning. Now we're going to hear about Advaita Acharya's call for Mahaprabhu to descend. I'm just going to read it, it's okay. I have time. Acharya Gosai Prabhu Bhakta Avatar, Krishna Avatar Hetu Jahar Hunkar. Advaita Acharya Goswami is an incarnation of the Lord as a devotee. His loud calling was the cause for Krishna's descent. Krishna Jadi Prithivite Koden Avatar, Pratame Koden Guru Varger Sanchar. Whenever Sri Krishna desires to manifest his incarnation on earth, first he creates the incarnations of his respectable predecessors. Predecessors? Oh. Yeah, some of these translations are not so. So his Guru Varga. So means his seniors. So it's so beautiful, Krishna's the ultimate in etiquette, actually. Mahaprabhu and the Lord, he always sets a supreme example of etiquette. So before Krishna appears, he always sends his seniors first, So his mother, his father, his guru, like that. So beautiful. And he doesn't come alone. He never comes alone. He always comes with his entourage. It's very interesting, the relative within the absolute. Because Krishna is not fully Krishna without all of his paraphernalia, actually. When Srimati Radharani and the Braja Gopis, they meet Krishna at Kurukshetra, they're very disappointed, because all the paraphernalia is missing. So it's not the same. So it's very beautiful to see that how the Lord's paraphernalia is so integral to who he is, actually. There's also that dependency. Such a beautiful, complete reality, full-fledged theism. That's what our gurus are giving us. Okay, I'm going to stop there for today. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai. Didi, would you like to chant? Hari Hari Ram Krishna. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopinath Madana Mohana Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Dupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Ch.Ch Gosai Kori Charana Bandana Jaha Hoite Vignana Nisha Purana Ch.Ch Gosai Jar Mui Tara Dasa Sansavada Pada Delu Mora Panchadras Vajra Charana Sebi Bhakta Sanivasa Janame Wo E Abhilash Ch.Ch Gosai Jabe Braja Koilo Vasa Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Kodila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Jayaman Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyasha Hari Nam Sankirtana Kare Naratamana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Jai Sabai Gar Sisi Guru Rama Radha Giridhara Juki.
Jai.
Jai Krishna Bhakti Bhakti Nimala Jaya Maharaj Ki.
Jai.
Jai Sri Chaitanya Sai Samatri Ajaya Venuki.
Jai.
Jai Krishna Bhakti Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki.
Jai.
Jai Krishna Bhakti 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 Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki.
Jai.
Jai Krishna Bhakti Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki.
Jai.
Jai Sriyukta Ki.
Jai.
Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki.
Jai.
Jai Nanda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki.
Jai.
Jai Sabhishal Simana Prabhu Ki.
Jai.
Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Govardhan Ki.
Jai.
Jai Grantharachima Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki.
Jai.
Jai Tulasi Maharani Ki.
Jai.
Ganga Yamuniti Ki.
Jai.
Jai Sri Navatritam Ki. Jai Sri
Jai.
Mayapudam Ki.
Jai.
Jai Sri Vrindavan Ki.
Jai.
Jai Sri Purushottam Ki.
Jai.
Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki.
Jai.
Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki.
Jai.
Jai Samanta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki.
Jai.
Samanta Vaishnava Mandala Ki.
Jai.
Harinam Sankirtan Ki.
Jai.
Jai Vishakha Devidasi Ki. Gaura Premanandi.
Haribo. Does anyone know how to turn off that camera?
To turn the camera. You know.
Well, Radharani will be out in a minute. Radharani, you can turn off the camera.